Chances are you're already familiar with pushing data into a database. Otherwise you wouldn't be here. Now traditionally, certainly when I was growing up, you would have done that using an insert. Well, when dealing with streaming data, a careful approach is needed. A database needs to listen to a constant flow of rows of data. It needs to control and manage this ingestion process. It needs to track where it is in the stream so it can recover and it can prevent duplicates being written into the table. It needs to leverage the parallelism of the incoming system, that ability that these source systems have for scale and for resilience, so that the database itself can keep up with the often very large volumes of data that they're providing. In Apache Druid, the process responsible for fulfilling all of these requirements is called a supervisor. Supervisors are long-running processes that plan, execute, and govern streaming ingestion. But they don't actually pull and then insert the rows of data. Instead, supervisors spin up tasks called indexers that grab data from the event stream. They subscribe to them and they bring that data into the database. It's those tasks, those indexers, that actually do the insert. So how do you control what happens? Well, in Druid, it's all configured in a JSON document. The high-level structure of that JSON document is common to all ingestion tasks behind the scenes. It has three parts: IO config, data schema, and tuning config. Loosely, you can think of the IO config as being like the extern statement in SQL. It describes all of the connection information needed for those indexes to get to the source data. The data schema is like your select statement. It sets the columns that will end up in the table, including the all-important primary timestamp. It allows you to add expressions to your incoming data. It allows you to include a where clause and do a sort of group by as the data arrives. That third section, the tuning config, that has some really advanced parameters in it specific to the different types of input source that you have. So there are some really deep configuration options for Kafka and for Kinesis you might need to apply in a tuning config, maybe. These JSON documents, they're known as ingestion specifications. They're common to lots of different flavors of indexer, whether that's a batch ingestion, whether it's a compaction job, or, for our focus in this course, the indexers for Kafka and for Kinesis. Whenever an ingestion specification is for those two types of indexers, for streaming, remember that Druid starts a supervisor. And that's why when we talk about streaming ingestion, we don't refer to them as ingestion specifications. We call them supervisor specifications or supervisor specs. When you send a supervisor spec to the Druid Ingestion API, if there's no supervisor, it will start one. And if there's an existing one, it updates it. Now, hopefully you've already tried to connect Kafka or Kinesis using the data loader on the Druid console. I hope you have. Well, if you have, you'll know that you end up with one of these JSON documents. That wizard is essentially helping you build your IO config, your data schema, and your tuning config. Now, on the surface of it, that JSON document looks quite alien if all you've done all your life is SQL ingestion. But in reality, it lets you do almost everything that you would do using SQL. It's just described using JSON instead, so please don't be afraid. The Druid documentation has a section dedicated to it. Before you go further, take a good look at both the ingestion specification and supervisor specification pages. Get to know what the three sections do and what kind of thing lives inside them.